What is up, guys? Preston Rahim coming at you live with his first C-Sharp tutorial. This is going to be the first in a series of tutorials that are going to take you through C-Sharp from knowing absolutely nothing at all about programming to practically being Steve Jobs about breathing. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit a few different topics in programming itself and really utilize C-Sharp to kind of be the vehicle we use in order to understand things like if statements, loops, arrays, and we may even get into object-oriented programming later down the road. So without further ado, we will head on over to Visual Studio. So the first thing you're going to see in Visual Studio is this page right here. You're going to be like, oh my god, what the heck am I looking at? We got developer news over here, new projects, recents. I don't even have any recents right now because I haven't started any programs. That's why I'm watching this guy teach me how to program, and you're just probably a little bit overwhelmed. It's okay, we don't care about any of this right now. What we're going to do is go to File, New, Project. We can name this anything we want. We're going to name this one Dab on the Haters, because that's what we always have to do if you want to be a good programmer. And before we go off and confirm this, we just want to make sure we are using C-Sharp. A lot of times it'll start off on Visual Basic, but nobody intelligent uses Visual Basic. And make sure we are making a Windows Form application. And with that, we'll go ahead and hit OK. And it looks like I've already made a project called Dab on the Haters before, so we'll try to think of something else. So instead of dabbing on the haters, we're going to go ahead and yeet on that dab and then make a new program. And it's going to do this for us, and we're like, oh my god, what is this? A whole different screen I'm going to have to learn. Nope, don't worry about it. We're going to break down each and every individual component on the screen right here in the next slide of our slideshow. Boom. Now, first thing we're going to hit is the design window. So we'll come back to our program. And now, remembering the design window, that's this area right here that we're looking at. Here we can see the form itself, so that's actually what the user is going to see when they open up our program. I'm just going to go ahead and double click on this form to bring up the code that kind of runs that form, and this is a lot of the backend stuff. This is where we're going to be typing into, making sure all the mechanics are going through correctly. This is where we're actually coding, and the user doesn't see this when they run our program. This is what they see. So you can make this look pretty, and then this is kind of what runs and drives everything. So this is our design window. We'll see both our code and our form itself. Going back to our slideshow, the next thing we have is the toolbox. Now, the toolbox is this area that has all of our different little components that we add to our form. So that refers to text boxes and labels and list boxes. Organizers like group boxes and things like that. Some back-end mechanics like sounds and timers that kind of run in order to help you get some more functionality out of your program. And then you'll see that on our program right here in this section right here. So we got all this cool stuff. We got checkboxes. You want to be able to use a color dialog? Here's a color dialog. You want to be able to use a group box? Right here. You want some labels? Right below that. You got everything you could ever ask for in this section right here. Going off of that, let's come back to our slideshow and see that we have a Solution Explorer. Now, cool thing about the Solution Explorer is that it really shows everything that makes up your project. So our project, Yeet on That Dab, contains this form right here, and right here, here's the files for our form, and then any other form we add to our project as a whole, any other classes we make beyond that. So everything is organized in here, and you'll kind of see how everything works together to be one entire program. Moving on from that, we have our properties. Now, the properties is really important. Those are characteristics of things brought from the toolbox. Going back to our Visual Studio, that box is right here. So when I click on our form, you have these properties you can adjust for the form itself. We have the name, background color, things of that matter. We can adjust those, their default settings right here. So when we load it up, it'll match all of these things right here. Now, something to note though is that these properties are basically a quick way of doing it from within the code. So we can go in the code and change those things like background color and size in the back end right here. But it allows us to do it really easy right here. If we need to change it later on through running the program, that's what we'll do it in the code itself. So you probably noticed that in the corner here we have got a little picture of Todd Coons. And really what this represents on every slide is up to that point how good of a programmer are you? So NASA has officially recognized 1 Todd Coons as the scientific unit of measurement for programming ability. So at this point, knowing all these different things right here, we are at 1 Todd Coons level of programming. So let's go and step our game up and go to 2 levels of Todd Coons, and we'll learn some basic tools. The first thing we're going to start off with is labels. And labels are exactly what they are. They're just text. They're words. They're just there for people to read. That's really all they do. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to our program right here. I'm gonna find a label. Where's the labels? It's not a link label. We're just a regular label. I'm gonna grab this guy and right there, label. Look at that, L-A-B-E-L, just like it was spelled right here. Just like it. Same thing. Now we can make this say anything we want. Oh, I accidentally clicked on it twice. But we can make this say anything we want. We come over here, go to its properties, right? Because we want to adjust what this comes up as when we first run our program. So we come over to the properties, sort the properties in alphabetical order, just so it's a little bit easier to work with. And let's come down to text right here. And let's make this say something useful, like Coons eats pants. Alright, now we're providing the user with information that they need to know. Alright, we can change the label name. Generally, we'd like to abbreviate things, so we want to call this LBL Critical Information. Alrighty. And now, this label is defined to say Coons eats pants. We can adjust a lot of things about this. We can change the color, the font, if it comes up visible as soon as the form opens. And like I said, throughout the program we can make mechanics and buttons that change what this says. So we can say when a button is clicked, and then come in the back end here and write some code for set the label text equal to something else. So we'll be doing that in the future here, probably pretty soon. I'll probably drag a button over here real quick. But that is the basics of labels. Second thing we got here are buttons. Yep, let's just go straight into that. Buttons, in its basic sense, are labels that you're meant to click. So they're there. They have a word on them generally to provide the user with some information about what they do, and they click and they should generally do something. So we'll come back over to our form right here. Let's look for buttons. Alright, buttons. Come up here. Boom! Name button upgrade. Boom! Color red. Boom! Comic Sans. Boom! Text upgrade. And look, we've got ourselves an awesome looking button here. But let's go ahead and run our program. Up here, just click the green triangle with the word start next to it. It's gonna work through it and it's gonna say, alright, hey, let's run this thing. And you're gonna click it and you're gonna go like, oh yeah. Doesn't do anything because we haven't programmed it to do anything. So why would it do anything? That's right. It doesn't know what to do because we haven't told it what to do. So in here we have to double click the button. Alright, and what is this? What? Private void button upgrade click object sender event argz. What does that mean? This is a foreign language. I didn't take Chinese. I took computer science. You know? No. Okay, we're gonna break this down. So basically, by double clicking on that button, what I did is it made a method. Alright, a method is kind of like a function. It's kind of like just an action to take that a program takes. So this method right here is the action that gets taken when the user clicks on this button when we're running the form. So by double clicking on that, Visual Studio was really nice and like, oh yeah, it'll go ahead and make you that method for you. Now we have to actually tell it what it's going to do. So what we want to do is we want this button to upgrade this string of text right here. We want it to upgrade this label. Right, and by doing that, basically we want to change the text of this label to be something else. So we have to. This is where naming conventions comes in handy, being good with what you name things and being consistent. So upgrade is going to change what this says. So let's go into our code, make sure we're in the code for button upgrade click, because we want this to happen when we click button upgrade, and we want to change label critical information, right? Here we go, label critical information. And just to save myself from typing that, I'm going to Control C, come over here, and go, alright. So when this button is clicked, we're going to say label critical information, and then this is where our properties comes in. Remember this, the text on here is defined by the text right here. On default, the text is set to be this, but in the code we can change it to whatever we want. So dot text equals, and then some string of text that we want it to be equal to. So let's upgrade that sentence and say Coons eats lots of pants. Alright, here we go. Capital P for pants too. Exclamation mark. Don't forget your semicolon. Every time you run a line of code, make sure you end it with a semicolon. It's a C# thing, it's a Java thing, it's just what you gotta do. Alright? And we stuck this in quotation marks for reasons that have to deal with strings that we'll probably hit on later in data types, but just know whenever you want something to be equal to a literal string, you gotta put it in quotation marks, right? And then everything in here, it reads, oh, this isn't like code or the name of another button. This is just a literal string we want it to be equal to. So make sure you put that boy in quotation marks. So now, if we start our program, on default, remember, it's set for the text property to say Coons eat pants, so therefore it says Coons eat pants, but we programmed this button to da-da-la-da-da-da. Coons eats lots of pants, look at that. Computers don't lie, Illuminati confirmed, Coons eats pants, we know it. Alright, so there we go, you have programmed your first button to do something, and you're basically a hacker now. Alright guys, next we're going to get into pictures, because text and all is great, but a picture tells 1,000 words, am I right? Okay, no, but really. So we're going to drag this over here, make our window a bit bigger, just so we can fit this thing on here. Resize this up. Remember, picture boxes, just like anything else, have text properties. Now remember, this is a picture box. This isn't the picture right here. This is a picture box. So we can fill it with a picture. So what we'll do is come over to its properties. There's the image. Where's the image? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There we go. We're going to import a local resource, basically using a file from our computer. I'm going to go to my downloads. We're going to scroll down to walking.jpg. Alright. And then, boom, we'll make this bigger. And there we go. We've got a big old picture. Now, I don't like the way that works. I want to change this to where no matter what size I make the picture box, that picture will scale to be like that. I'm going to go stretch image, and there we go. Now when I change the size of this picture box, the image will change as well. You can flatten that out like that, and now it's got even more comedic value because you squashed it and it looks very low quality. Alright, comedy 2017. Now, this is a picture box, remember? This picture is not really necessarily dedicated to this. Remember, within the code, if we want to set this button to change something or any other action to trigger a change in picture, we can absolutely do that. So we can, if we wanted to, we can say, alright, when we click button upgrade, not only do we want to change the text of critical information, we want to change the image. So we would go, whatever this is called, we would go picture box 1 or whatever we name it, dot image equals, and then it's a little bit different. You have to do the file path of the image and things like that, but you get the idea. It's an editable field that you can do to be triggered by whatever you would like in your. Now finally, what we're going to get into, guys, is list boxes. Now list boxes is pretty much self-explanatory. It's a list of things, so you can keep adding to it, you can remove stuff, and it's just a box for text that a bunch of different things you can fit into it, go line by line. So to just kind of demonstrate what a list box is, remember with all its properties, I don't think we need to go through that right now. What we'll do is, though, alongside changing the text of critical information once, every time we click the upgrade button, what we're going to do is we'll do list box, where we got list box 1 dot items dot add, and we'll give it the string Coons has eaten one pant. Alright. Now every time you run this button, it's gonna add Coons. Oh, dang it. Yeah, it's spelled right. What? No. Coons has eaten 1 pant. It's gonna add that to our list box. So let's go ahead and run our program. Coons eats pants. Oh, Coons eats a lot of pants. And you know what? He just ate 1 pant. Let's click it again. Oh, he ate another. Oh, what? What? Coons, all the pants are gone. Alright, okay. We got that. That's list boxes.